So in today's video, I'm going to be showing you my favorite exercises for playing guitar solos. And to me, these are some of the best ways to work on your soloing in a way that's super duper fun and effective and gets you thinking sort of on a different level than most people think when it comes to working on guitar solos, and starts to get you thinking in the bigger picture when it comes to playing your solos. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. So as you see on screen, there's a diagram there. This is all of the notes that are in the key of C major that you can find across the guitar fretboard, because the backing track I'm going to be playing over in this lesson is going to be in the key of C major. Now, if you've ever seen my video on how to memorize all the notes on the guitar fretboard, well, you already know this then. But for those of you who haven't seen it, I just put it up there so that you can see where I'm grabbing the notes from that I'm going to be playing in the examples coming up in this video. Also, I'm going to be using some of the notes that are not included in there, because you're going to see that you don't always have to stick perfectly to the key that you're in, of course, but you need to understand what key you're playing in for sure, so that you know how to get back to the, for lack of a better term, quote unquote, right notes, right? Okay, so let's jump right into the exercise. So the first exercise, it's one of the most important things that you could ever be able to do when you're soloing, is to play a constant stream of notes. Now, what we're going to do is start out playing just a constant stream of quarter notes. Now, why is this important? Well, if you can play a constant stream of notes and navigate through the key that you're in without breaking that constant stream, it does a couple of things. Number one, it actually gets you to concentrate more on the rhythm of what you're playing, because the goal here is, no matter what, to try not to break this stream of notes that we're playing. Okay, so even if you hit a quote unquote wrong note or something like that, something that's not in the key, don't worry about it. Just keep going and try to get back in key without stopping playing. So we're going to play a constant stream of quarter notes, and then we're going to go from there. So our quarter note with this backing track goes like this. It's just a 1, a 2, 3, a 4, a 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to just navigate through this key playing quarter notes. Okay, cool. So that shouldn't be very hard for you to do. It shouldn't be terribly hard. Once you've done that, now we need to play a constant stream of eighth notes. So we want to start making the subdivision faster. Okay, so now the subdivision is going to be 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and so dot 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 dot. We're gonna stick with that and just play a non-stop stream of notes, non-stop stream of eighth notes. Ready? Go. There was a note that was out of key. But it's okay, because I just kept the rhythm going. That's the most important part. Cool. And then this is going to be a little bit more advanced, but once you're comfortable with the eighth notes, you should try playing a constant stream of 16th notes as well. So the subdivision is going to be A 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and so daka 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 da 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 da. Once you can do that, now you know you're really, really, really comfortable just playing any note and not having to stop your line. So anyway, you see that you might actually, once you start getting faster like that, you might break it for just a second, and that's okay. Just get back on it and keep going. But the idea is that you want to be able to play nonstop. Now, that doesn't mean that you should always play a nonstop stream of notes in your solo. No, you want to have good phrasing when you play your solos, right? You want to leave some space too. It kind of gets tiring hearing this nonstop stream of notes. Even though it's something we want to be able to do for the reasons I said before, now our second exercise is going to be called play a bar, wait a bar. So what does this mean? It means that we're going to play for 4 beats, and then we're going to stop playing for 4 beats. So essentially, we're going to pre-plan out breaks in our phrases and our solos. So now kind of the opposite, okay? Before we were playing a constant stream of notes, now we're going to deliberately stop playing in a specified amount of time. So let me give you an example. So we're going to play 1, 2, 3, 4, and stop for 4. So let's try it. Pretty simple. You get the idea. I'm not playing the entire bar that I'm allowed to play. I could if I want to, but I'm still trying to make it a little bit interesting with the rhythm. But the idea is that we're playing for a certain amount of time and then stopping for a certain amount of time. That's literally the only rule that we have to follow. Okay, so exercise 3. Just gonna leave the track go. We're gonna start on the and of 1. So this is another phrasing exercise, because a lot of times people start on the downbeat. So they start right on 1, 2, 3, like 1, 2, 3, 4, kind of like before. But that can get kind of boring after a while. So one thing that's cool is to start on the and, like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and. So starting right on the and. Let's hear an example. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4. 1, and 2, and 3, and 1, and 2, and 1, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and. So listen to those upbeats. So it's just the idea that now our only rule is we gotta think starting on an and. Also, if we're thinking about 16th notes from before, this can also be really useful to start on the E. So 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E. So I'm accenting that E so you hear the 1 E, 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 1 E, 1 E. So like this. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3. 1 E and a 2 and a 1 E and a da. Sometimes it's hard to count and solo at the same time, but you just got to hear the E. 1 E and a 2. But that's a little bit more advanced. Once you get really comfortable with the 8th notes, and then you get comfortable playing 16th notes in that subdivision, then you can try that. But for right now, just try doing it with the and of 1 in the 8th note subdivision. Okay, so let's stop this for 1 second. So we only got 2 more exercises left, okay? So again, the idea is that I'm not even like thinking so much about the notes either. I'm operating under the assumption that you've practiced these notes enough to at least have a decent grasp over them. But now our mindset's like in a totally different place when we're doing these different exercises, whether it's on phrasing or on rhythm. It's in more important things actually in the solo rather than the notes. So exercise number 4, we're going to be thinking even more broadly. So we're going to be thinking directionally, actually. So 2 basic versions. Number 1 is we're going to be thinking, I want to play a phrase that goes upward. Okay? So every single phrase that I play, it has to move up the neck or across the strings. The pitch has to go higher, you know? Something like that. It doesn't have to move scalarly either. It doesn't have to be super long like that. This could be an example. Or this could be an example. It doesn't have to. So it doesn't have to move super directionally either. Sorry, I'm making a bunch of mistakes. So it doesn't have to move really stepwise either like that. It can be like 3 notes, something like this. Right? That's upwards. And this is kind of alluding to the next exercise, which you'll see in a second. But let's throw in a track and I'll show you really what I mean. Okay, so we're gonna be thinking going upwards. So again, the phrase just has to move upwards. I can start back at the bottom again if I want to. So I'm just always moving upwards. I'm just thinking moving upwards. One more, upwards. Cool. So now let's do the other direction, which is just downwards. So now every phrase I play is gonna start from higher, it's gonna move lower. So again, you see the idea. I'm always kind of starting higher so that my direction goes lower. So I'm just thinking really generally. I'm not thinking about every single note I'm playing or anything like that. I'm just thinking, I just want to go lower. I want to go in this direction or go in that direction. Okay, one last exercise and then we'll wrap this video up. So number 5 is playing wide intervals, or what I like to call, quote unquote, skipping around. So this is a fantastic exercise because even I've been guilty of this, even in this video, is that guitarists really play a lot of stuff that moves what we would call stepwise, right? So sort of in a scalar fashion, right? Moving like from one note to the next note that comes right after it, to the next note that comes right after that. Why? Because this is how we kind of learn and conceptualize and practice our scales a lot of times, which is, it's important to understand our scales like that because that really is the simplest and easiest way to navigate through our scales is, okay, what note do I have? What's the next note? What's the next note? And go very sequentially like that. But it starts to make a lot of the stuff that we play sound the same. But why shouldn't we be able to skip like from, let's say, the 6th string to the 3rd string, something like that? So a really easy way to do this actually is literally just to pick 2 strings and only stick to those 2 strings. So if you look at the diagram on the screen, you go, okay, let me pick the 6th string and the 3rd string. Make sure you got the notes down there and say, okay, I'm only gonna play those 2 strings, but I'm gonna try to really switch back and forth between them relatively quickly. These kinds of things. And once you start doing that, it's like literally the simplest idea to implement, but all of a sudden now, like even just that thing I played right there, I mean, you're not gonna hear too many people playing stuff like that in their solos. You're gonna hear a lot of stuff, like I said, even I was just playing a lot of very stepwise things, maybe with some interval skips thrown in there, but this will help you sort of mix it up a little bit more. And in addition to your stepwise playing, throw in some more wide intervals in there. So let's try that really quick. Sometimes it's hard to get that picking with these wide intervals. And if you can turn it into some kind of pattern between the strings, that's even cooler, right? So if you want to learn all the tools that you need to be able to navigate soloing just like this in any key and any chord progression, make sure you check out my flagship course, the Jamsville GPS Fretboard Fundamentals course, linked in the description below. All right, everybody, until next time, listen, learn, and jam.